Hi YouTube, this is Jonathan at the Piano Lesson, back again. It's the Portland Blues Festival coming up this weekend, and so what better music to talk about then? That's right, chamber music. No, just kidding. I'd like to talk about the blues. That would be fun because the blues. You actually have to say it. You have to say it like blues, and you have to wear a hat when you're playing the blues. And sometimes a beard is good, especially if you're gonna steal a sausage from one of the carts and you don't have any money and you don't want to get caught. No, the blues is very evocative. It means a lot of different things to people. Um, Interestingly enough, just as a little sidebar, if you're colorblind, you can be colorblind not to see red, but as far as I know, everybody sees the blues. Just a thought. Anywho, blues is considered to be the foundations of jazz. It's considered to be an American invention. But everything's considered to be an American invention, right? I mean, sneakers are considered to be an American invention. French fries are considered to be an American invention. I don't know if you really knew that. The French actually stole it from us. And when they gave us the Statue of Liberty, we actually gave it back initially. We filled it with fries, gave it to them, and then they sent it back with the fries. Now, definitely an outgrowth of slavery, an outgrowth of spirituals, and music, big African influence, particularly from the area of West Africa, and more specifically perhaps from the country of Mali. And you can hear, if you go on YouTube, and you can hear a lot of the sounds that are used in West Africa. You can hear some of the sounds of the blues. I'll be honest, there's so many different iterations of blues, and rhythmically, stylistically, instrumentally. I mean, there's a whole host of different styles. So I'm going to focus on things that are more like the nuts and bolts of the blues. Not so much style as much as substance and musical form, chord progressions, scales, and maybe a few tunes, a few songs, and then also just maybe some blues licks, clever things to play. It's kind of a language all of its own. A lot of the blues that you hear today, in my estimation, really is more like rock and roll or soul or kind of party music. And this is a whole nother subject. It should be the subject I'm talking about today, really, but the whole area of spirituals, very majestic, a lot of solemnity to the spiritual, a lot of elegance and beauty, and that actually kind of gets missed. We tend to think of blues as something that's a little rough around the edges and saltier, and something that you might hear in a roadhouse somewhere, and probably was. But I will say there's one overarching thing to me that makes the blues worth playing, worth knowing, and that's the fact that it really is indefinable in the sense that it really vacillates between the two typical sonorities we think of as major and minor, two different keys. It kind of plays in the cracks. And this idea of major and minor, very, very distinctive major, minor, it's very distinctive things. That's kind of, to me, a very Western idea. The playing within the, this is major, this is minor, this is the blues. Now, if you listen to that, your ear goes all over the place. It kind of goes there, but it kind of goes there, and depending on the string and the piano and the reaction between the two strings, I could kind of lift that up and make it into major, kind of lift this down, make it into minor. I can slide off the key or down, right? Or back and forth, that kind of thing, right? Or I could just play in the crack, or play over here, or up here. I think of blues as less melodic, although it is melodic, it's definitely melodic, but it's also very rhythmic and very textural, and the way you play the piano is almost like a drummer. It's almost kind of like this. Kind of this. You can kind of hear the whole band. So it's 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 2, 3, 4, 9. I stopped counting, but you have to trust me, that was 12 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 6, 2, 3, 4, 7, 2, 3, 4, 8, 2, 3, 4, 9, 2, 3, 4, 10, 2, 3, 4, 11, 3, 4, 12, 2, 3, 4. So there's your 12-bar blues. It's hard to count and play at the same time. It's a little trick you learn over the years. And you can hear me kind of speeding up sometimes, but my counting, not my playing. I think my playing was pretty, on point, pretty much metronomically correct. But I use essentially 3 chords. I use F, B flat, and C. Okay, so primary chords with an interesting distinction. All those chords were basically dominant chords. F, A, C, E flat, 4 chord, B flat, D, F, A flat, 5 chord, C, E, G, B flat. All 3 are dominant chords. Now that's fascinating because that's the only style of music that really uses dominant chords all the time. Typically, the only time you ever hear the dominant chord, if you're going to generalize about most of the songs we listen to, most of Western music, what you're going to hear is the dominant chord played kind of towards the end. So you're going to hear a regular old. Maybe it might go to F7 to the B flat. So that's 5, a 1, 5, a 4, 5. That's called the secondary dominant. And then, but at the end, 5, 1. Usually that's how you hear the dominant chords. So that's very interesting about the blues. Also, this idea between major and minor. You heard me kind of playing that minor third. In this case, it would be A flat to A. Okay, or the B flat chord sliding off that third. B flat D F. I'm kind of sliding up from D flat to D natural. Right, and the C sliding from the E flat to the E natural. Now, that's essentially the notes of the C7 chord. When I do this, that's the triad, C, E, G. And when I do this, that's G, B flat. Right? I'm sliding off the F sharp there, right? And this chord, right, that is the, I'm not losing air, 4 of 5. So this is F, C. You hear that all the time in kind of rock and roll. Listen to any Elton John, you'll hear that all the time. But this F, B flat, B flat to E flat. Just kind of passing chord. C. What is that? That's kind of go down. F, E flat, D, D flat, C, and changing the chord. F, F7 in first inversion. The bass is changing. B flat. All right, and there's different variations of this, but you can play. Let's don't play that. And then D flat, D flat 7, C7. That's a possibility. And I play B natural here. B7, C7. That's a possibility. F, F7 in first inversion. B flat. D7, C7. Now listen to what I'm kind of doing here. It's almost like bouncing a ball a little faster and getting slower again. All right. Rhythmically, that's kind of akin to almost bending a note. If you bend time, you can bend time rhythmically. You can also bend pitch. And I'm not drunk, but that bending of pitch, right? Okay, that vocal component is really important in playing a musical instrument. I mean, and that's why there's a lot of great piano players that like playing pianos that are out of tune, quote unquote out of tune. What does that mean? Well, it could mean a lot of things to a lot of different people, but ultimately it means that the piano, say one note, is not necessarily in tune with itself. When you play one note, you have more than one string vibrating, and those are all supposed to be tuned to the same tension. So they vibrate together, and it sounds as one string. But if all those 3 notes are slightly off, it actually sounds pretty good. It actually sounds fatter. That's how real orchestras typically play anyway, right? Everyone's maybe ever so slightly out of tune. Otherwise, it just sounds dry and cold. There's so many things. It's an area of a whole nother discussion. Let's just see what's going on here. There we go. Okay. Got a new monitor this week, and so the resolution on the monitor's just different, so can't see certain things. Anyway, but musical form, 12 bars. Now, you can have blues that are different. You can have 10-bar blues. It's possible. You can have an 8-bar blues. You could probably have a 13-bar blues if you wanted to. But more so than not, if you're going to sit down and play tunes with people, and the word blues comes out, right? That means 12 bars. unless otherwise described. Now, what are the most common keys? Well, if you get started, there's 12 major keys, there's 12 minor keys, right, altogether. You can have a minor blues. Here's a minor blues here. Well, that's interesting sound. So, F minor 6. B flat minor 6. C7, or G minor 7 flat 5, C7 flat 9. That's a jazz element I've just added in there, right? So what did I do there? I added a 2-5 in a minor key. I used the G minor 7 flat 5. That is how kind of the jazz element of the blues builds on that foundation of the blues. So F7, B flat, F7. Now here, 2, 5, 1. That's a resolution to a dominant chord. That's a strange thing. C minor 7, F7, 5 of 4. That's an interesting jazzy element to this blues. And so it's this ambiguity between major and minor, between happy and sad, which are the two main elements. Now, as far as the scale goes, well, again, we make up these scales out of convenience, okay? So this isn't like the only blues scale in the world that you can ever make, all right? But I would say of all the blues scales, they're probably the most standardized. Let's call it standardized. It's a terrible thing to say for the blues, to make it standardized, but there is a standardization of a sort. This scale, F, A flat, B natural, C, E flat, F, root, flatted third, fourth, sharp 4, fifth, flatted 7th, root. Why am I using those terms? Well, F is the first note of the F major scale. We kind of compare everything to a major scale. So A flat is A is the third note of F, so I call that a flat third, not a minor third, although the interval from F to A flat is a minor third, but the note in and of itself, the scale degree, flatted third, fourth, B flat is the fourth note of the F scale. F natural, okay, that's your tritone right in there. There's your fifth, all right, and then the E flat rather, that's the seventh, because the seventh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that's E natural, flatted seventh. That's what we call a flatted seventh in this case. So you can use letters, F, A flat, B flat, B, C, E flat, F, or you can use numbers. 1, flat 3, 4, sharp 4, 5, flat 7, 1, and both are useful to describe that sound. Now, you're probably not gonna, oh, my cap fell. You're probably not gonna use that scale harmonically per se, right? You're not gonna use it, well, you could use it to build a scale. I build chords, I guess, but you know, we're really thinking of kind of an artificial scale. You know, this is an interesting thought. You know, I was mentioning that well, let's just write this down. I'm thinking of two. I'm going all over the place. I'm crazy. I'm going all over the F, A flat, B natural, C, E flat, and then F. Okay, yeah. F, A flat, B natural, C, E flat, and F. Right? 1, flat 3, 4, sharp 4, 5, flat 7, and then 1. Okay. That's kind of how I'd construct the scale. And within that scale, what's interesting, you can use groupings of notes, three notes at a time, 2, 3, 4 notes at a time, as clusters. So, for instance, B flat, B natural, C, E flat. That's a good sound. Or F, A flat, B natural. There's your little lick. Now this 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. Right? Typically, you divide things in groupings of 4s or 3s. Triple yeah. So you can do triplets, triplet, 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 triplet. Those are kind of cascades of almost parallel sixths going down. That's a tremolo. That's a tremolo for a minor third. That's a kind of part of a pentatonic scale. There's a F, A, C, D, F. I'm kind of leaving some of those blues scales out, notes out. It's this. Black keys on the piano, but playing the white keys. You make slight changes, and you can go from country to southern rock to bluegrass to playing, shuffles. So a shuffle really 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12. Closer to 12/8, closer to 12/8 than maybe 4/4, something like that. You have the swing element, which is really undefinable, right? But it's this idea that we're playing two notes, and we're not really, we're playing two notes in the same amount of time that it takes to play one count, and we're not really dividing that beat up precisely into two parts, nor are we dividing it precisely into three parts, nor are we dividing it precisely into four parts, right, necessarily. But there's some breathing room there. There's some flexibility, and it's something that you just kind of learn to feel, like in the same way that you just learn to catch a ball. It's just sort of a natural thing. It's the way you learn to pronounce words. You just sort of learn, and you have to adapt depending on who you're playing with, and what tune you're playing, and how you're playing, what kind of instrument you're playing, because you might potentially want the swing feel to want that groove to feel differently, depending on whether you're playing a bass or trumpet or whatever. That's kind of the beauty of playing jazz, is that if you have this mercurial, if I can use that word, this mercurial element in the music. So there's a rhythmic element that is, again, not always highly defined. There is this harmonic element and melodic element that is kind of riding the line between major and minor. The harmonic idea is that you are always playing dominant chords for the most part, and again you can attach these jazz elements to it, these 2/5 elements. I could even make it, I could even kind of telescope that idea out, F. What did I do there? Well, D, G, C, F, B flat. That was my target. So I started a third above my target, and in that instant, I decided to play kind of dominant chords: D7, G7, C7, F7, B flat, or I could have done D minor, 2, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. Why did I say 3, 6? Because D is the 3 of B flat. And minor, dominant, and these minor dominant chords actually have extensions to them. This is a ninth. This has a ninth and a 13th. 9, 13, and then you get to the 13th chord. The blues probably is not going to, the actual blues probably not going to use 13 chords. It's a bit too colorful. Well, you can, of course you can, but when I think of like really traditional blues, it's probably just not going to lend itself as well to using those extensions, those kinds of dissonances. So I don't know. Let's play another tune, and then I'm going to have to get going soon. It's getting a little late here. So some of my favorite tunes are Monk tunes. Now Monk is very interesting. Monk grew up in an area of New York near Washington Heights, where you had a lot of people from the Caribbean living, apparently, and so there was that influence, that kind of like off-kilter kind of cockeyed Caribbean sound. I'm not disparaging it in the least. It just has this sort of giddy quality to it. But there's what was it? Was it? That's a great blues in B flat, and it has a lot of built-in kind of licks that you can use almost in any tune. So that's just a quick example. There's just so many, and I hope this has been helpful. I think we're kind of running out of time here, so I'm just gonna kind of tie up some loose ends and say goodbye. It's been fun to see you, and if you made it to the end, God bless you, and I'll be here next week. Okay, this is Jonathan at the Piano Lesson, signing off. Until next time, may the blues be with you.